Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and somebody sent me this drawing. It's in millimeters, and I don't quite understand. He said he wants to cut it out on a CNC router, but the whole thing's only 2.4 inches. There's a lot of cutting in 2.4 inches with a router, regardless if it's CNC. He actually sent me this at first, and that looks like metal, and I have no clue what this is. But I'm going to go off these dimensions and I'm going to draw it, and I did. So I don't have all the dimensions, but I do have 61.3 millimeters. Hold down the control button. I'm going to change it back to millimeters. You have to have nothing selected. And click on this and change it to 61.3 millimeters. I'm going to hit P, put it in the center of the page. Now the next circle is 17.3. Control D and make a duplicate in 17.3. 17.3. Now the only other measurements I have, there's 50 and 34 on these circles. So let's do the 50 first. Let's Control D and make a duplicate and make that 50. Control D and make a duplicate and make it 34. So now we have our circles. Without having the actual drawing, I just took and I'm estimating this. I'm roughing this in. So if he has the more, so I'm going to go kind of for the center, and then I'm going to click on it and get the rotation of the center, and I'm going to rotate it basically 22.5 degrees about. So 22.5 degrees on both directions. And then we had to figure out what this one is, but I need to draw a new line, so let's do one at a time. So we're going to go and take a 2-point line. And this time we can go from the center because I'm in the center of the page. Double click on it and get a rotation, and we can go 22.5 degrees. Now I can Control D and make a duplicate and mirror this guy, and then just move my counterpoint to there. Now I'm going to select both those, Control D, and I'm going to mirror them down. So now I've got both sets of lines. Now we need, because that's, you've got a short one and some long ones. I have no clue how long they are, so we're going to take a 2-point line, and even though the drawing's not in the center, I'm going to go from there, make the rotation to the center. A lot of times if you don't hit that X, you get the shape tool. And we're at 0, and we're going to turn it, and we're going to go to, let's go this way. 53 degrees, I'm going to call it 54. So get your, well, here's another thing I kind of did. Just to kind of double check the drawing, I went from the center of that line to here, double click on it. Well, it's already in the center. Well, that's not going to work. I got to just erase all that other lines because it actually Corel connected those two lines. So just take a and if this doesn't interest you, I want to say hang up, but just quit watching. There is a couple of tricks that are coming on. So we're at 0. So that's like 15 degrees. So that's how you could probably figure out the next one. Take this one, Control D and make a duplicate, and rotate it plus 15 degrees. Take this one, make a duplicate, and minus 15 degrees, because it's going the other direction. Control D, make a duplicate, plus 15 degrees. Whoop. Minus 15 degrees. I don't know that I made a duplicate. Evidently I didn't. The computer's telling me I didn't. Minus 15 degrees. One more, Control D. Minus 15 degrees. Oh, plus 15 degrees. So back up here. Now we've got our lines. All I have to do is take the virtual segment delete key and delete that line, and that line, and that line, and that line. And I'm just going to save my lines and I'm going to move them over one at a time. So I've got that line. Now I'm going to go down here to the line tool. I'm on CMYK, but that shouldn't matter in this case. I've kind of looked at it and I'm going to go 6 points. I did the wrong 6 point. Actually, I can probably do it with them connected. You could break that apart. And I'm also going to put rounded caps on them. So now I've got those pieces. I'm going to take them and convert them to an object, and then I'm going to left click, right click, no fill. The other ones are a little bit harder, and I'm not going to bore you with the it's the same principle. I just measured distances, and I'm just going to grab one of these, and I'm going to hit P, put it in the center of the page. So I did the exact same thing, but I'm not going to bore you with that. And I'm going to go and I'm going to have it snap to that line. Now it needs to be pretty good because of the fact that it needs to be on that line perfectly, and it is. Now we can basically take this line away and go up, grab that item, double click on, the rotation is not in the center. If a lot of you ever have that, just move off and snap back to the center. Go up to Windows, Dockers, Transform, or yours might say Transformation. Rotate it 60 degrees 6 times. There you have it. There's the drawing, roughly, because I have no clue how, I can't tell what 2.4 and 1.5 is. I don't know if it's the distance here or the distance here. If the line is supposed to be 2.4 millimeters, I'm at 2.2, so I'm pretty close. So if you know those measurements, you can put that in. When you make your line, well, we're on that one again. But when you're on this, well, we change it to an object. When you have your line, let's just make a line. And I had it right here. You can go to millimeters. And if it's supposed to be 2.4, there's your 2.4 line. So you can change that and then go to make it round caps right here, line caps, and say okay. So once if this was 2.4, it would make it a little easier if I could tell. I have no clue what this is. It looks like circles, but I don't know what the lines are. There's some other lines and dash, these dash lines. He was trying to draw it out and see, I don't know what, is that supposed to be 3 millimeters up top? Anyway, he'll be able to do it now, I hope, because he's seen what I did. Once if you know this length, or this length and that length, you're home free. I'm sorry if that was a little boring, but that's the way it would look cut out. I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.